Hello everyone, welcome to the Chris-chan update for the end of May 2019. I am incredibly tired and weary and I feel like I'm gonna die, but we're gonna head into this because the first thing we have is this image of Bugs Bunny, who also looks like he's going to die. This picture was drawn by Chris's half-brother Cole Smithy to their Mothry many years ago, and Chris decided that he just had to put it on Twitter. So now the rest of the world is forced to look at it. Like last time, I'm going to be live recording my initial reactions, going through Chris's Twitter. This is my new format. I like it, a lot of other people seem to like it, so we're just going to see what happens. Gather around, everyone, as I tell y'all the story of Reldnahc ness'in. To also note, he is not blood-related to I nor my C-197 counterpart. ness'in was one of the few half-Sonichus that emerged from the chaotic rainbow of February 1st, 2003. And then we have this classic image of ness'in riding his Zapdos from his first appearance in Sonichu. And I think this is going to be a very long thread. So here's some new Sonichu lore. I don't know why Chris doesn't just put this in the comics, because there's so much lore that's explained on his Twitter and in videos in other places that it makes actually reading Sonichu completely nonsensical, because so many details are left out of the actual books themselves. I pretty much gave up reading Sonichu, but if I want to keep doing this channel, I gotta get back into it, and that makes me want to... let's just keep going. He was born on June 12th, 1991, hatched from an egg in his human form, witnessed and taken in by the married couple in a biker gang. They cared for him and showed him how to stay tough and strong in the roughness of life, and I can't say that word on YouTube. He did not have the traditional school days, and house always while growing up, and was on the road. The couple believed in letting the child choose their own name, so when they filed for the birth certificate he was born in Montana, they left the name field blank, but his social security number was there. Okay. Over the years, everyone called him Kid. He also had his share of future-seeing dreams. In them, he referred to himself as ness'in and Reldnahc, off and on, and even saw someone who addressed him by his full name of Reldnahc ness'in, which is Christian Western Chandler backwards, if anyone doesn't know. He even saw himself in his Sonichu form, but did not consciously know of Sonichus and Rosechus yet. So, come his 7th birthday, so this is 1998, his pop asked him, "So, kid, you think of a name for yourself yet?" ness'in was asked this on his 5th and 6th birthdays as well, but he hadn't fully grasped the idea of not having a legal name for himself yet, or that he was given the right to choose for himself. He had kept his dreams and visions to himself, and he gave it the thought and remembered the key words, so he tells his paw on his 7th birthday, "I came with my own name, and it took me some time to realize it. So, Rebel Riders, Ma and Pa, y'all should know my name is Reldnahc ness'in, but call me ness'in for short, capiche? Because he's Italian now." And he wrote it on a bar napkin he had kept in his pocket since the middle of '98. And after he dubbed himself, his Ma and Pa and the Rebel Riders drove back to Minnesota to update his birth certificate and made it totally legit and legal. Then, in May of 2000, the Rebel Riders crossed paths with Team Rocket and had a real tussle of a fight and getting their Machamp, Machops, and Charmeleons in the middle of it. ness'in's Ma and Pa were killed in the fight, and the 3 remaining Rebel Riders were forced to retreat with their Charmeleon and Machop. They forgot and left ness'in behind. He saw the bloodshed and his dead Ma and Pa. ness'in didn't have any Pokemon of his own yet, but he had Silver Knuckles, Grit, Moxie, and Fighting Combat Spirit while holding his own. Isn't he like 9 years old? 7 years old? 9 years old. He was shocked at the sight of his dead Ma and Pa. He ended up shedding one lonely tear before Giovanni emerged from the Team Rocket chopper nearby. while the members collected the Pokemon that were still breathing and in their balls that were left behind. A grunt was really beat up by nes'in, and he showed his damage to Giovanni and pointed out the brat, looking over his dead ma and pa. Giovanni approached the kid, and with a commanding and stern look, he keeps switching between past and present tense. He tells nes'in, "Kid, I see real potential in you. Come join us. We could use a fighter like you. We'll toughen you up to become the greatest of them all." Confused, yet knowing his family ain't coming back, he begrudgingly, that's spelled right, agreed and went with Giovanni. Over the years, he spent times at the gym with his teammates and fighting type Pokemon, and he even studied which were the toughest moves to use in battles. Giovanni even allowed nes'in to take on the Kanto gym leaders with his starting team of a Machoke. Are we in America or are we in Kanto? Because he's from Minnesota. Doesn't make any sense. With his starting team of a Machoke, Gyarados, Drowsy, Rattata, Coughing, and Houndour. If this is 2000, then... Oh, I guess Gen 2 did come out in 2000, never mind. On his journey, he met Kel and found a friendship with her that had felt familiar to that of his old mates of the Rebel Riders. Kel and nes'in became friendly rivals to each other. nes'in would catch a shiny Gyarados after defeating Koga, and he caught a wild Zapdos at the abandoned power plant. And even his Raikou showed up, shortly after he caught his Zapdos. After collecting his 7th badge, Giovanni pitted nes'in versus his son, Silver, who just took on the Johto League and earned his 16th badge. nes'in and Silver has their own bittersweet rivalry as Team Rocket mates. See, the reason that Chris's Dimensional Merge doesn't make any sense. See, if you subscribe to the philosophical theory that everything that is possible has happened in at least one universe, then even then you still wouldn't understand what Chris is saying about the Dimensional Merge, because he says that everything fictional happens in the same universe. His Sonichu stuff can't possibly actually exist in the Pokemon universe. So this makes no sense, and it makes me angry. I can't believe I have to read this. This was their own private deciding battle to see which was the toughest kid on the Rocket block. Neither held back. And in a cutting-it-close conclusion, nes'in had defeated Silver, and Giovanni awarded nes'in an Earth badge and his hearty laugh and congratulations. And then a few years later in 2003, when nes'in was sent on a mission to steal Pokemon from the Quickville civilians at the mall there was his first conscious exposure and meeting with any Sonichu or Rosechu. After being defeated that day, yet able to salvage the DNA of Sonichu and tell Giovanni what happened, he had his dreams again, seeing himself as a Sonichu. For a time he continued to shrug them off, and then Blake Sonichu entered, and he ended up shuddering at the thought of being a Pokemon himself. And a few years later, the fact that he was one of the few special Sonichus from the Chaotic Rainbow became most obvious when his Sonichu half fully awakened when Quickville Christian and his medallion was exposed to the dark magic of an underworld. The darkness seeped out from there, and into nes'in. If you haven't read Sonichu, this makes no sense, but yeah, Chris fell into darkness, but it like only his medallion touched it because he was trying to save his sister. It's a whole thing. In the few recent days and weeks before this, he had felt a shudder of ominous presence of something going to happen to him. He also had nightmares, but then most of his dreams were either neutral or nightmares, and he was accustomed to those type of dreams at night. And then emerged Reldnahc Taki Sonichu. Is that something backwards? No. As well as a real growth spurt, personality makeover, and extension of his lifespan. As old as he is now, he remains as youthful as he looked in his teenage years then, and he does smoke, and yet he's not afflicted with the typical coughing, colds, or blank like normal individuals. Same with the booze. He remains very healthy, strong, tough, and stubborn as ever. So wait, if he was born in 1991, and he became evil Sonichu in 2003, and he was already smoking and drinking, then he was 12 years old. So Reldnahc ness'in was 12 when he started smoking and drinking. He's clearly the most evil bad villain in all of Sonichu, and look at what he's wearing. Even his medical exams and x-rays showed the remarkable phenomenon. Beyond that, in more recent years, nes'in became a sort of anti-hero, since Count Graduon is taking it easy for a while and helping us in the fight for a mutual common good. Off topic, because this thread needs more words in it, Chris. Off topic, Graduon is a very well-read, decent individual once you get to know him. Sharing tea with him and the conversations are a delightful time to share. Because Chris just has to turn all of the villains in a story good and take out any exciting parts, because that's what they do in My Little Pony. Back on topic. nes'in is still on team with Graduon and his group, but in this time, he opted to live life for himself. He runs, strengthens himself up at gymnasiums, shatters boulders, meditates, and what else? He ends up finding his own definition of justice and becoming sort of an anti-hero, or on the Marvel's Venom level. He also has a job on the wrecking crew in construction, and he has some income of his own. He remains distant and single, his own choice, and he has his fun nights once in a while with one of his co-workers. He became bisexual, just like Chris. Though he likes clanging swords and moonlighting more often. What does that mean? Is that a metaphor? Or does he actually mean that he enjoys fighting more than he enjoys relationships? He found residence in a hotel. Is it a soup hotel, Chris? On the shady part of town. But with his Mach-speed legs and feet, he's always coming home for the night. Even after a gig in Canada or Mexico. That's the further story of Reldnahc nes'in Sonichu. Draw at your leisure if you like, my followers and nes'in lovers. Be safe and well. So Chris just makes up backstory like this, and asks people for fan art, and then he says that the fan art's canon, unless he doesn't like how you draw Sonichu's arms, then he'll tell you to do it again. Oh, I just got the memo on nes'in's special power, which explains his ability to live really on the edge. He has a heavy healing factor like Deathstroke/Slade. He's not indestructible like Deadpool, so don't confuse or blow him up. And then you got Deadpool, he's doing a heart. And I always like looking at the top comment. You dropped this clown license. Is it boring? So then I gotta scroll up through all these and we'll see what his next comment is. Oh, Chris is, he realized his mistake. He said he meant to say Montana, not Minnesota. Montana. Reldnahc nes'in Sonichu was born from an egg on June 12, 1991, in the state of Montana, because that's super important to his character. Hey, y'all! Here's a lovely and prideful throw blanket we're selling now. We need the money here, that's for sure. Thank you. Rainbow heart, rainbow lightning, blue heart, lightning, Check out Rainbow Pride 50x60 throw blanket super soft plus fleece LGBTQIA gay pride eBay link. I'm going to click the eBay link. But I want to look at the comments. So it looks like Chris made this? Oh, his mother. Christine, honey, why is it $200? Just curious. My mother suggested the price. It's because they need money. No one wants to buy a blanket with cat hair all over it. Oh my god. Oh god, it's sold! Oh no! You people are so dumb. It's sold on the 13th. When was this tweet? The 13th. It sold in 24 hours. For $200. I bet it was the guy who bought the Sonic shoes. Chris, like, shows off a Transformer or something. Who cares? Commodore 64, everyone knows Chris's favorite video game system. Yeah, Chris is reviewing some sort of toy thing. It's like retro Commodore 64 Pepsi Computer Warriors. Oh my god. And he reviewed it because he thinks people care about his opinions. Hey y'all, Scott here. Hey y'all, I just discovered yet another OC from Equestria. An orange-yellow colored, yellow scrafty blonde green-eyed earth pony dude, and a distant cousin to Applejack. His name is AJ Fartin, and unfortunately, his specialty, aside from being a hard worker, but he has apple juice farts, really bad, and yet apple juice is his favorite drink beverage. Pew! Chris, you did not discover this. You're not the chronicler of Sonichu. You made this up in your own head, and then you sent it out into the world, and you made me read it out loud, and I hate you. Stormy Bunny says, I'm sensing a new fetish. No, farts are not a fetish to me. That sounds like something that someone would say when farts are a fetish to them, Chris. Ex-EPA Chief Scott Pruitt spent nearly a bunch of money on excessive airfare, agency says. Hey everyone, here's a think piece. Firstly, if people didn't overspend... I didn't even finish the sentence. If people didn't overspend so much, then there would be more money to give to charities around the world. Okay, so when he overspends, it's fine because he thinks of himself as a charity. And then that brought to mind that if things had not gone up in price, I know about inflation and that more money has been... Oh, this is a thread. Oh my god. That more money has been officially printed and distributed over the decades, there would be more to freely give to those unfortunate. Why, back in the day, we used to pay a nickel for a Hershey bar. A nickel. Now it's $1. $1.50. Why is he typed like that? We could be using that $1.45 to feed the hungry everywhere. But everyone got greedy for the green and don't appreciate it as much. A nickel. I can't deal with... I'm not going to explain economics to Chris. Here's a picture of one of Chris's not dead cats. It's loading. And, was this a sun kern? Something like that. And a Detective Pikachu, and his room's a mess. Ah, the red spy who replaced me has been revealed. Okay, so there's some history to this. This is a while ago, one of my earlier videos. Chris believed that because he thinks that the Brony Analysts are real, and the Brony Analysts are a group of Brony YouTubers who play Team Fortress 2 sometimes. And Chris believes that in the fictional universe, he is one of them, and he's the role of the Red Spy, which is a class in Team Fortress 2. But a couple months ago, he said that he was no longer the Red Spy, but he can't tell us who it is because it's a secret. So that's the background for this. Ah, the Red Spy who replaced me has been revealed. It is fair, but my time on the Red Team before his arrival shall be properly chronicled within the series soon. The Alicorn Amulet has already long been... Oh, and that's a link to a YouTube channel? Recovered and put back into safekeeping. Anyone who wants to read about what happened on that Team Fortress 2 team the few months ago, feel free to read about it here. But again, that is past tense and already completed at this point. Carry on, British ninja. So wait, what's this YouTube link? Oh, so it's literally... I'm playing an ad. Dr. Wolf, this is the guy who does those sessions with Dr. Wolf that Chris wants to get on. It's literally, they announced who the new Red Spy in their little playing thing is. Their little roleplay thing. And Chris is just feeding off their lore because he's insane. Chris retweeted a tweet from the official Sega Hardlight. I don't know what that is, but this is an official account. It's a blue check mark and everything. Never look back. Have no regrets. Happy International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intersexism, and Transphobia. Every day we stand with our LGBTI, I guess the I is intersex, Q plus friends and family, but today we wave the pride flag a little harder in celebration of diversity. And then you have Sonic with the gay pride flag. Okay, that's the thing. Grumpy Cat died, so Chris is his memorial to Grumpy Cat. This is just a moment to honor the life of little Miss Tartar Sauce, our grumpy cat. Despite her face stuck like that, she was a pretty cat, and she was a good one for her owners. She made lots of people smile worldwide as well, even depicted in fan-made comics, which is, of course, the only thing that Chris cares about. Thank you, Miss Tartar Sauce. Everyone will remember your pretty face in gladness and kindness. I'm surprised he didn't draw an anthropomorphized grumpy cat and put it in his comic. Yes, I play Ingress too. Ingress is the game that Niantic made before they made Pokemon Go. So he just plays that while he's playing Pokemon Go, I guess. I feel the cosmos, fate, destiny, and all else in our progress all around me. Lightning heart lightning. Some weird anime gif. That's nice, Chris. It's fine. It's whatever. Oh, this is from MKR Night V. This is that crazy person who feeds into Chris's delusions. I also made this picture into a base, so you all can draw yourself next to Starscream if you like. Just don't forget to credit X3. Have fun. And Chris retweeted it. Yeah, there's only 2 retweets and 9 likes. What's this? You gotta, on Twitter's weird. Dude, so you got this guy with a chocobo and this guy with a Torchic, and they're like, what, you have a chicken? That's cool. Torchic is not a chocobo. They are both chick types, and this is just a real fun piece, Lightning, because Chris has to show that chocobos do not count as Pokemon because Sonichus count as Pokemon, and so he needs to be protective of those types of things. Exclusive. Some parents are poisoning their children with bleach to cure autism. These moms are trying to stop it. Gah, this is very... Oh wait, no, he's capitalizing every first letter of a word. I need to read this differently. Gah, this is very troubling and disappointing of these dumb people. This is a thread. It should be obvious, but autism is treatable where the child can become better sociable and outgoing. I myself am a good example. I myself am a good example of an autistic child. Of an autistic child continuing on and being mainstreamed. The autism may fade away over time, yet signs of it may still be present. Anyhow, never ever poison anyone, period. It is not only wrong, but it is cruel and abusive. People, do not be cruel and abusive. Patience, kindness, love, and emotional support is the right way to go for young ones, and anyone else in general. Thank you. Oh my god. Chris is a great example of an autistic person. Oh my god. There's not like an autism community to kick Chris out of it, so that's like the Sonic community has kicked Chris out, the LGBT community has kicked Chris out. I wish that like Autism Speaks would like come out and disavow Chris Chan. What's this? Alex Hirsch, he's the guy who made Gravity Falls. It's a petition. I'm hereby calling on the state of Alabama to change their state flag to Mr. Ratburn's gay wedding. Who's with me? This is because they banned the episode because the South. And Chris retweeted it because he's gay. I just realized that this coming June 16th will mark the 1-year anniversary since I was bestowed the powers of a CPU Blue Heart. Quite a joyous day indeed. Oh, so it's been less than a year since his actual psychotic episode. That's interesting. I can't really read his handwriting. You can see it. It's fine. Yeah, me pointing to himself. That's fine. Is this Chris's human form? Nope. Whoop. Scarlet, the CPU goddess of combination and the Commodore consoles. Wing? Oh, before her death in 1994. Tri-Blasters. Oh, so I guess there used to be a different goddess of the... whatever. Public service announcement. Wash your hands, or use hand sanitizer, or the dirty man will unsheath his blades. Totally cool and funny. Toy Wolf, Dirty Man, Transformers reviews and stuff by some YouTuber that Chris obviously watches. No one cares about his statistics. Okay, so this is a big story. So there's a YouTuber, and I better get his name right because I really like him. I think he's hilarious. Okay, so there's a YouTuber named Nick Robinson who has some amazing videos on YouTube. The one where he goes to Japan to the Domino's headquarters is amazing. Anyway, he has a video entitled The Nintendo Character with Zero Google Results. You've probably seen this. It's been all over Reddit. It's been all over other places. It's been all over YouTube. It's probably in trending and recommended and all that stuff. Where he was playing Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, which was a game on the 3DS a couple years ago, and there's a character that in that game is very obscure and you can only see if you do a certain set of actions. And there were 0 Google results for the name of that character. Obviously, after he made the video, there became Google results for the name of that character, and people started talking about it. But it's a really interesting video. I highly recommend that you watch. But it does relate to Chris Chan, and you'll see why as the story continues. So Chris first says, "Hey y'all, I just learned about this Pappy Van Poodle," that's the name of the character, "of Real Deal Baseball on 3DS from the person who made the following video." That's nice, Chris. "I have also heard that the trolls who found in my download history between PlayStation and eShop finding my purchasing the mini-games from the free-to-play app, they assumed that I paid full price, but I did not. In Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, I gave Rusty all the story element items. I haggled all the way down in all the minigames, period. Thank you, at Nintendo America." So, the way the game works is you can just buy a minigame. It's like $5 for this, tapping minigame, whatever. Or you can play other minigames, get higher scores, get these in-game items that you can then trade to haggle down the price so that the other minigames cost less real-world money. You can only meet this Pappy Van Poodle character if you pay full price for all the minigames, or at least one minigame. You see him each time you do it. It's a different cutscene per game that you buy. So, the point of this video is that no one else had ever seen this character because no one else had actually bought a game for its full retail price. Well, a bunch of trolls who had seen Chris's purchase history of his 3DS were like, wait a minute, Chris bought those minigames. Maybe he saw this character. And so now Chris is just stating and clarifying that no, he did the haggling thing, and so he did not pay full price, and so he did not see this character. But what ended up happening is the guy who made this video, Nick Robinson, reached out to Chris and had a live Skype call with Chris where they discussed the game, and it's actually in his follow-up video to this. I'm not going to show the footage because you can just watch it in his video. But he talks to Chris for a couple minutes. So go to Nick Robinson's page. I think it's called Pappy Van Poodle Endgame, and there's some interesting Chris footage in that where he's mostly incomprehensible. So that was fun. I was just watching a YouTube video from a guy I like, and Chris Chan's suddenly part of it. Here's a tweet from Tara Strong. "When I was a little girl, I witnessed the effects of bullying firsthand on a daily basis. My mother was obese, and my sister was different. People would call her fat and snicker. I would hold her hand tighter and tell her how beautiful she was. And she was. To me, she was the most beautiful woman ever. Her heart was beyond generous, loving, empathetic, welcoming." There's no and, whatever. "She always supported and loved me. She was my biggest fan. She taught me so much and I miss her every day. I was doing an episode of Rugrats. The babies were in a car dealership. I don't care about her story, but Chris basically says, "Thank you for sharing. Tara, I too pray for when bullying ceases and everyone is able to treat others kindly, with little to no hatred in the world. Sadly, though, some do hate, and I take pity upon them in their respective struggles that have made them turn to the dark side." Because Chris believes those PSAs and videos you see in school where the only reason that bullies bully are because they have hard home lives. I don't expect the haters to simply quit hating on me. To simply quit hating me. Like going cold turkey. But I remain and shall remain optimistic and kind as best as I am able to for everyone, and help out in any way I can with all my powers and might, because Chris has superpowers and he's going to stop the bullies, guys. He's going to stop all the bugbears. The Sonic movie got delayed to next Valentine's Day to fix up the CGI, and Chris retweeted that announcement. Here we go. Here is the big thread. Here is, I believe a lot of people are actually talking about this. A lot of people sent me this, and I saw it. I know that someone made a Reddit thread on, the official Chris Chan Reddit. They're like, "Hey everyone, GiBi was right," and then people are like, "Who's GiBi?" or "I hate GiBi," so that was fun. But Chris says, "Good morning, everyone," smiley face. "Have I the most interesting and awesome story to tell y'all today. I have just ascended into hyperactively self-aware, and an even more lucid dreamer than I had ever thought or, well, dreamed possible ever. Through many self-observations and experiments, I have found ability to fully put myself into deep sleep, and yet remained partially awake, conscious, and aware the entire time. This is something you may try for yourself, but one step at a time so you get the gist of it. Before I get to that, so obviously the background on this is that I made a video about reasons how a person who used to be sane could start believing in all of this weird dimensional merge stuff. And one of my theories was that Chris was dreaming it, and that the part of his brain that stores his real memories was overlapping with the part of his brain that stored his memories of his dreams. So he would wake up and be going about his day, and he would remember things in his dreams as if they had really happened to him, and that could have caused him to believe that all this stuff was real over time. And so this is sort of further evidence to that. Step 1. You need to picture yourself falling asleep, and while dreaming from that, fall asleep in that dream, and do this 2 more times to fall into what I call a sleep level 5. I wonder if you've seen Inception. At least a simulated aspect. To draw a picture, it's like going from the top level of your brain and sequentially downwards to the middle level. You don't want to go further than level 5 because of Inception. Step 2. Add weight to your eyelids, or simulate the feeling of your eyelids getting heavier, so it gets dark behind them. If you see light flashes, unless you are blinking, you are not seeing external lights flashing through your eyelids. This is part of the REM rapid eye movement phase. Step 3. Simulate drifting off. To me, it is like literally flipping a switch off from awake to sleep in around the frontal lobe of my brain. It feels like the remainder of your head under your brain is being turned off and put into sleep mode. So Chris is saying that when he's like tripping out when he's sleeping. It's weird. Optional. Step 4. Simulate the rest of your body drifting off. It feels like your body is going limp. Sleep paralysis is likely in this as well, which is good. I call this step optional because more commonly it will follow suit automatically after the 3rd step. From this point onward, if you feel like you're more conscious awake, you want to keep mental focus in keeping the previous steps activated. Within minutes, you should feel like your body is falling into an infinite void. By then, the dream sequence should begin. This isn't lucid dreaming, Chris. This is just sleep paralysis. When you do sleep paralysis, you're going to hallucinate vividly. From my perspective, so all those steps are totally unnecessary. All you have to do is stay still for like 15 minutes and not do anything besides breathe. From my perspective, and it might vary between individual to individual, but the initial sequence is random flash-quick images in front of you. Lots of blackness. A visual floor forming under your view, and then whatever random thing for the dream you are forming right then and there. It even goes into placing you in the middle of a conversation, running away from gangsters, catching a Pokemon, or what have you, with that feeling of, how did I get here? Guess what? Your dream is beginning. And then you have the dream, normal in full sleep, or even partially awake in lucid, and when you eventually wake up, and then you eventually wake up. I even found how to force myself awake and feeling rested after, without having to fall back to sleep, habitually, or quote, lazily. You wake yourself up from the earlier sleep level 5, upward back to level 1, and wide awake. Grogginess is likely upon awakening for the moment, but in this instance, it really does allow choice in falling back to dreaming, while remaining asleep, or poof, wake-up call. Not only is this total nonsense, but Chris's writing style is not very good for reading comprehension, and because I have to read this out loud, I'm only comprehending like half of what he's saying. So hopefully you're all getting more out of this, because I don't really understand. Here is my experiment from this morning, thanks to my Fitbit and the data on the app. On this, you will see this morning, I had yet another restless night, and then, about between 1:30 a.m. and 2 p.m., I said to myself, let's give this a whirl, and sure enough, I fell asleep. So he slept from 1:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.? He slept for 12 and a half hours from 1:30 to the middle of the day? And then I don't know what any of this data is, but he's probably going to talk about it. At 2:04 a.m., I felt partially awake and conscious the entire dream. and I had total control over my actions in the dream. I even remember the dream. And when magi-chan told me to wake myself up, I did that, saw on my clock that it was 4:10 a.m., and the 2-minute delay shows. I ended up feeling uneasy after some coffee, and my third eye going off aside from that. I made and cooked an omelet, and had it as a sandwich on toast. Why does that matter? I put myself back into sleep, noting it was 6:49 a.m. beforehand. I was able to fully observe the cycle of falling asleep. I felt in amazement and awe that I was able to finally witness all of this firsthand without losing consciousness. I felt like I had broken a sleep rule and surpassed limitations. I ended up dreaming lucidly again, even astral projecting myself, here, in 1218, in front of my house, as well as inside, right in front of my sleeping body, and talking with my loves, hanging out beside me. I even walked my neighborhood, found a woman walking her dog. She felt my soul and heard me, like a breath in the wind. Anyway, I felt my 8:30 wrist alarm buzz. And then I pulled myself back awake at 8:30, and again, the 2-minute delay, as shown on my Fitbit data. Chris, I think your clock is just 2 minutes slow. This method works. If you're having trouble sleeping, I recommend giving it a try for yourself. Bonus, I even found my sleeping body tends to be a bit of a sleep talker. No surprise, I saw that before a bunch off and on in years past. But I ended up belching and having the twitchy leg moments and rolling over. I can't believe how bad my sleeper my body is. And before you comment any hate or hate art about me being such a noisy, moving sleeper, I know I am not the only one in these worlds with such problems, and look at yourselves before passing judgment upon me. I may have digressed a bit, yeah, a lot. I'll take my responsibility in having these flaws about me, now that I better know about it. Please feel free to screen cap and share this story for the benefit of other individuals who may be having sleep problems. I am super happy and glad to be able to share this experience with all of you. Thank you, Miss Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu. One more thing I forgot to mention. I know and realize how Pinkie Pie can fall asleep so fast. She's a character in a cartoon, Chris. As well as wake up in an instant because of this. I learned that here we go, this is MKR again. I learned that MKR had stumbled onto this technique as well, and before I did. But the difference was in my ability to describe the whole thing. I believe this sleep trick will merit a good scientific study, and it might be named after me, but I want to share the credit. So, in the event of this sleep meditation technique getting studied and named, I wish for it to be named the magi-chan meditation sleep technique. Thank you. The first comment, translation, Chris watched Inception and has now found an excuse to sleep for 14 hours a day. I'm begging you, please seek help. Oh my god. Chris signed a petition. Masahiro Sakurai, get Pappy Van Poodle into Smash, sign the petition. Let's see how many petition signatures this has. It's gonna be like 2,000. It's probably gonna be like 10,000 or something stupid. No, it's less than 100. Yeah, no one cares. Christine Weston Chandler, 137. Listen, Chris, my Dr. Phil petition got way more signatures than that, and you're not gonna go on it, so why should I listen to you? What's the retweet if you really like repeatedly drawing the same character. And Chris retweeted it, so he must really love Go Jerk Off in a Lake. What is this? Dear newspaper, potholes suck, go jerk off in a lake, sincerely, Dapper T-Dog City Velociraptor. Watched some Tuca and Birdie on Netflix last night. This bit of Tuca reading the letter and dancing animation is so funny. I don't know which is more funny, the animation or the way Tuca reads the letter. A lol. Am I at the end? I'm at the top. I get to stop soon. Oh my god. I just got my Tokyo treat box, and it included a set of Lipton Sakura tea bags. I just made a teapot, and the aroma wafts lovely after opening the box, dispensing warm water over the bag to fill the teapot, and after 5 minutes on the stovetop, and into Mr. C's... Mister? He's calling himself Mister. Chris just misgendered himself. That's not good. Yum. So even though he owes a lot of money, he bought this teapot thing. So another story that happened, this isn't on his Twitter, and I can see why, but Chris's court date for his debt came. Both him and his mother are in thousands of dollars of debt. And I believe it was pushed off again until next month. This is like the 7th time that Chris and his mom have been taken to court to pay off their debts, and it just keeps getting pushed back. It's actually, I believe someone on the GiBi forums was talking about this. It's like really hard to force Chris to pay his debts because he's receiving disability from the state. So like he also doesn't own anything of value, so like they can't repossess his car or anything because he doesn't own any, he doesn't have anything. So like they can't take away his disability. He doesn't have any savings and he's nothing of value, so they can't force him to give up the money. So he keeps just going back to court. So there's a big deal. It's like, oh, I wonder if something's going to happen this time when Chris is in court. And no, apparently it just got pushed off to next month. So that's another thing that happened. So next time Chris e-begs or sells a blanket for $200, just remember how many thousands of dollars of debt he's in because he keeps buying Legos and teapots. This has to be the longest video I've ever made. It's only 45 minutes. Thank you for watching. I know it's been longer than a week since my last video, but I've been very sick, and then my internet wasn't working. I don't know when my next video is going to be. Hopefully it'll be next week, but I'm not sure. There is actually another story related to Chris that I'm going to talk about, but that's going to have its own video. That's going to be about Sarah and Steven, who are the two people who bought Chris the Switch. A lot of stuff has gone down regarding them and Chris. So look out for that video. It should be soon, as long as my internet continues to work and as long as this video actually gets uploaded. If you like my content, beyond just this Chris stuff, I have a podcast that comes out every Sunday so far. I've been able to do it for like 5 weeks straight, so that's nice. And I have another channel. It's called Puffin Muffler. It's really fun. You should go check it out. There's also an Instagram account for it. It's Puffin_Muffler. I have a Twitter. It's GiBi_Devon, which is spelled DEVON. Go there. Follow me. I want more followers so that when I tweet about Star Wars, more than one person likes it. And thank you for getting my channel past 10,000 subscribers. That was really fun. I'm doing I did an AMA. I got all the questions. I just need to film the video for it, so that's also going to be something coming soon.